All right. Mic check. Good. So I'm Max Ceron. CWB Association Welding podcast. Podcast. Today we have a really cool guest. Welding podcast.
The show is about to begin.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the CWB Association podcast. My name is Max Ceron, and I'm thankful for you guys tuning into our show. Today we have a fantastic guest coming from Eastern Canada here. I think he's in the Ontario region. His name is Mat Khaloobagheri.
Yeah,
Khaloobagheri. I got it right?
hello, Max. Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you. And thank you so
Awesome.
much, Max, for giving me this opportunity to have a very friendly conversation with you. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, Matt, you come to us from the Ace Tech engineering group out there they do a lot of really interesting stuff. But before we get to what you do now for a living, I'd like to know about you, because, I'm an immigrant. I was born in South America. I came to Canada, and you kind of strike out and start a new life. And I'd like to hear a little bit about your story, Matt. So where were you born?
Yeah, so I was born in Iran. I'm 32. So I would say 6 years ago, I moved in Canada immediately after my school. Got my master degree in materials engineering, and then because of my mother, because she is professor in University of Tehran back home, she has decided to move in Canada, and then because I was the dependent to my family, I joined to my mother's file, and then we moved in Canada. And then when I came here, I have decided to take a course in project management. So with having background in engineering, I have decided to have a certificate in project management. And then I continued my journey in engineering and project management together. And just recently, I wrote my PMP, and soon I'm going to get my PN designation.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm continuing in engineering and management field. Yeah.
So you're a busy man. So from what I understand, you were born in Tehran, right?
Yeah.
So that's the
Yes.
capital of Iran for people that don't know
It's,
about Iran, correct? And
yeah.
that's a huge city, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's a very big city with too many people. I would say 17 million people. Yeah.
So when you guys were coming to Canada, where did you guys land? And like, did you guys go there on purpose, or what was the plan? Did you guys know what you were gonna do?
Yeah. So I remember I just needed to defend my thesis in my master degree.
Mm-hmm.
So our plan was to just land it, get our permanent residency, and then I can get back, defend my thesis, and then get back here. So we landed in Toronto directly, and we didn't move anywhere. So I'm staying in Toronto. I'm
So are
happy
you
that we landed in the good city. I'm happy.
you're telling me that you're Toronto for life?
Yes. Yeah.
Everyone's gonna be shaking their head listening to this, being like, why? But Toronto's a beautiful city. I like it there too.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. There are too many opportunities for young people if they want to go to school, find a job, start a business. I think it's the
Mhm.
best choice.
Awesome. So when you were looking at finishing your master's thesis and then, looking forward in your education, how was that coming to Canada and doing that? Was it difficult to find a school where they would accept you to finish your education? What kind of, challenges did you have?
So at the beginning, I wanted to go for my PhD. So I had my master degree, and I thought I think it's a time to go for PhD in materials engineering. But I did some research. I talked with different people in my field, and then I have decided to just go for a college postgraduate program to get a
Hmm.
certificate in project management. I think it was a great choice for me, and I'm happy I didn't go for the PhD. That's my choice. So yeah. So I did, to be honest, I would say for 6 months I did research, and I I think I chose the best option for myself. Yeah.
And a metallurgy, a master's in metallurgy and engineering, that's difficult. How did you decide as a young boy in Tehran, going to school in high school, coming up to college? How did you decide that that's what you wanted to do? That's a very defined niche of engineering.
Yeah. Mm, so I had I very difficult to answer, but as all the immigrants, mm, my plan was to not just waste my time. So even before moving to Canada, I was planning by myself that I need to do this, and uh, it's kind of difficult to choose the best option for myself with my background in engineering. So it was challenging, but the first thing was the language barrier. So I need to prepare. My mother is professor in English language, but I wasn't a good son. So yeah. So language barrier was one of my problem at the beginning, and then I need to took some English classes, courses to get to prepare myself for IELTS exam, those things. So I
Mhm.
would say first 6 months of my immigrant was very challenging, but
Yeah.
I did it. I did it.
Good. And so your mom, it was just you and your mom. You guys came here, just the two of
No,
you?
no, my
Oh,
family.
so your whole family. And
Yes,
so your mom was a professor of English back in Tehran.
yes.
What did she do when she landed here?
Actually, she left.
She went back home?
Yes. So they were with me, my father and my mother, for 6 months, and they have just decided to get back home because my father has own business and my mother was
Good job.
happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they have back and forth with Canada and Iran, but they don't want to stay in Canada for long term.
Yeah, and that happens a lot. Lots of times immigrants, economic immigrants will come to Canada and maybe it's not the right place for them.
Exactly.
Um, but I think for the youth, like if you're young, it's much easier to make the transition.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I would say young immigrants, they can start their life from scratch. They have enough time to make mistake, to choose different and try different options and find the best one. But when people get old, uh, it's very difficult to try different ways. Yeah,
It is a little bit harder and scarier. It's, you're outside of your comfort.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
So you got here and you decided to get your program management designation, which is becoming very popular now. I've
exactly,
seen many jobs that are asking for a PMP designation on top of something else. Even
exactly,
even here at CWB, we have an ad right now running, hiring, looking for somebody with education background, welding background, but also a PMP. And that ability to organize and build a job from start to finish in terms of
exactly. Yeah.
the setup is incredibly valuable.
Yeah, because to my understanding is that project management is something that all jobs, all industries, they need someone to know the project management, how to manage, and it's all about the managing of time, everything. So as you mentioned, PMP now is very common and popular, and it shows the people and the person who is PMP certified, he knows or she knows everything about the project management. It's kind of not I don't want to say basic, but it's very helpful to land the position, especially in engineering fields.
Yeah. So how did you find the course for the people that are listening and thinking, well, maybe I want to do a PMP? I know I'm actually working on trying to set up something to help the association membership, and the PMP course kind of crossed my plate.
So,
Is it hard? Is it easy? Is it fun?
so I took a postgraduate program in George Brown College. It was 1 year. It they taught us about basics in the project management. After 1 year, when I finished my college, I have decided to go for CAPM, so Certified Associate in Project Management, one level below the project management, PMP.
Mm-hmm.
And then, because PMP is a really, I would say, very difficult exam. So you need to make sure you prepare, and it's expensive, it's not cheap. So you need to make sure you pass it in first try. So I was studying for PMP 6 months non-stop, all the days. So I was working full time as well. So I remember during the weekends all the day from 8 to 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
and during the week as well after my job. It's not an easy exam, but it's very, if you're an organized person, definitely you can make a plan and really go and pass it. But it's all about the timeline, because there are too many things you need to learn, too many things you need to memorize, to analyze. So it's you should have deadline for your exam. It's not like that, oh, I'm going to study in 1 day, I will go and take the exam. No, it never happens. You should have a deadline. Like say, I want to study for 6 months and then I'm ready. Because
So
yeah, some of my friends asked me, how did you prepare yourself? And I said, just 6 months, not more than 6 months. And one of my friends, for example, he was preparing for PMP 1 year ago, and I didn't talk with him. And he just called me last week, said, I'm still preparing myself. Wow, come on,
just
it's
go do
one
it.
year. Yeah, it's because it's all about the timing.
Yeah. So it's almost like you need a project manager to help you manage your schooling for project
Exactly.
manager.
Exactly. You should be a project manager before going for PMP. Exactly. Yeah.
So, so okay, so now we got Matt coming out of school with his PMP now. What were you doing in school for money? Like, were you working? You said you were working every day and going to school. What kind of jobs were you doing?
No, so when I was a student, it was full time. So I was
Okay.
working part time as a logistic coordinator. So I was working as part of the FedEx, and I
Mm-hmm.
was kind of professional, because in back home I did some importing and exporting. So here I was trained with the FedEx software to do import export with Canada. So it was a general job, I would say, for 1 year, but it was great because I made money
That's good.
during my
That's good.
school. Yeah.
Okay, so now Matt's timeline. We're going. English is getting better. School is finished.
Yeah.
Now Matt has to get a job. So now what do you do? How do you find yourself work in Toronto as a young man?
Yeah. So when my school is done, and still I was working for part-time, was trying to land a job, a full-time job. And I was lucky, because in that company that I was working there, in the logistic department, they need a project coordinator. So I had meetings with the operations manager of the company, and they have decided to hire me as a project coordinator. So the company wasn't really engineering field; it was about the pre-press and packaging and designing of the products. And then, but my goal was to land a project manager in the engineering field. So then I got after, I would say, 1 year, same company hired me as a project manager. I didn't get my PMP yet, so I was still with my college degree.
Mm-hmm.
And then uh, with my I was working as a project manager. I was happy, and then I said, oh, I need to improve my skills. There is a room for me to grow. Then I wrote my CAPM and then PMP, and then uh, with my friends, I saw there's an opportunity to have a company in welding industry in Canada, especially
Mm-hmm.
in Ontario. And then with my friends as a partner, we founded a company in Ontario and Toronto as engineering consultation, Welding. So yeah, I reached to the ASEC group. So with my partner, funding a new company with too many dreams, and yeah, a
So
new journey for me. Yeah,
so you take a big step. You're still a young man. You decide to start a company.
yeah,
In a country you guys don't have, maybe the connections that other people would have, because someone that has lived here their whole lives or has been here for many generations, they will have tons of connections
yeah.
to industry. So how do you and your partners in this new Ace Tech company, just starting baby company in Toronto, how do you start trying to find work? Like, what did you do?
So my partner, he was in Vancouver, and then he said, because he's a welding engineer, so he said, I want to move in Canada and start a business. So then he moved in Canada. We had some meeting together, and I saw there's opportunity because he knows more connections and more niche than me in welding industry and welding projects in Ontario and Toronto. So I would say his partners was our key. Uh,
Hmm.
his connection was kind of our niche to start this business. Yeah.
So what is your business then? What do you guys do best? With a metallurgy background, I think I have an idea of what you would like to do, but what is the main kind of products that you guys are trying to work on, or projects?
So, as an engineering consultation company, we do different engineering services. If I want to mention, like the designing of the HVAC systems, uh, working with the welding companies if they want to get certified with CWB, if they want to get certified with TSSA. So writing welding procedures for them, preparing them for the audit. So it's like the acting as an engineering department with for our customers. And yeah, it's a our services cover too many aspects of the welding service. Yeah.
Okay, well, it's a good time to take a break now. So thanks everyone for listening. We'll be right back after these commercials, back here on the CWB Association with Matt talking about his journey to Canada and education and then starting a company. We'll be right back. And we're back here on the CWB Association podcast. I'm Max Ceron. I'm here with Matt, who came all the way from Tehran, Iran, to start his new life in Canada and strike out on his dreams as an engineer. So we're at this point we're talking about his company that he has started now and seems to be doing very well. And one of the things that I'm curious about is, when you were back in Tehran getting your master's in metallurgy, engineering with metallurgy, did you know that this is where you would end
Sorry,
up?
next materials engineering.
Oh, sorry, materials engineering.
Yeah, yeah.
Back when you were materials engineering back in Iran, did you know you were going to be doing this? Is this kind of where you wanted to be?
No, never. Never. Yeah, yeah, because first of all, I had no uh, idea that I want to come in Canada during my master degree. And secondly, I was thinking I can get a very, very perfect job with my master degree from back home immediately after my landing.
Hmm.
So no, it's all happened when I came here and I saw the real situation here that I need to go to a school, get the Canadian experience in my education. But as I mentioned, I wasn't sure which way, PhD or the just cert.
Hmm.
But yeah, it all happened in Canada when I get here.
Yeah, everything kind of switched around.
Exactly, yeah. But I
Uh,
think, sorry, uh, for the immigrants, it's very important to decide very soon, immediately after the landing, because time is flying here in Canada. So we have no time to think too much about things. We should go and find the best.
It is
That's
a
my
different speed. I have lots of my family back home say, "Oh, we want to come to Canada. We'll come there. We'll be rich." And it's like, "Oh, easy." It's a way different way of working, a different system of economy here.
yeah.
It's a different attitude even of work that some people are good at it, some people are not.
Exactly. And here, lifestyle is totally different from my back home, and it's very challenging. It was, now it's better, but
Hmm.
yeah, it's
So,
better to make decision when we get here, not when we are in the back home.
so I guess I have a question now. You went to school, over in back home, and then you went to school here. How different are the schools like? Are the colleges like? Are they similar, or are they very different? Did you have to look at it a whole different way?
So I would say here is more practical. I remember in my course, we had projects every week, and they are very close to the real projects. So I would say here is more practical. Students need to act like they are working as an employee. It's not
Hmm.
about reading the textbook and go to and take your exam. So I would say being involved in more projects, doing more assignment is kind of very, I would say, is more than my back home even. Yeah, because my back home is more about the reading the books, textbooks, and go to for exam. Yeah.
And I had the same experience, with different places I've worked. I was actually in Ghana, Africa, working at a school, and when I got there, there was a 1 year welding engineer tech certificate that you could get, and part of it was learning about welding and stuff like that. And so I asked, well, come to my lab because I was working at a college, and come to my lab, and maybe we can talk with other students about your education and the welding machines. And when they got there, they had never seen a welding machine before in
Yeah.
real life.
Same.
One whole year of school, just textbooks, just written, a test, and then a certificate. And then I show him a actual weld lab, and no idea, like never seen it before. And that actually taught me a very valuable lesson about immigrants that even I didn't know as an immigrant, that sometimes even the education that you have that you are so proud of, you have to sometimes step back. And when you land in Canada, you have to think, I may have to start some things over. You know, even what you paid for and worked hard for back home, you may have to, like yourself, go back to school, and you may have to reassess the system and what you know, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, especially for the engineering fields, it's very important to not just read the books. They need to work with the equipment. They need to see the professional people having more, I would say, uh, visiting more companies, especially for engineering fields, is very important. For my experience in project management, it's all about the paperwork, documents. So, for example, as
Hmm.
a project uh, manager, okay, I can read the project charter, but I need to see a real project charter from a real projects. So I think it's very important to do real works. Yeah.
So now you have two types of education, the PMP and engineering, in your job now within your company. Which one do you use more?
Project management, I would say.
Yeah, so you're more the project manager, and
Yeah.
then you have other engineers working with you.
Yeah, exactly. By my choice, I have decided to delegate the technical aspects of each of the project to our technical and engineering department. But soon, when I get my PhD, my plan is to get my welding engineering certificate,
Hmm.
and then I can be more involved in the technical aspects. But for now, I would prefer to stay on my project management field, and I can provide the engineering department with my experience and my knowledge in project management. But still, as an engineer and project manager, because for example, at the beginning of each project, for example, we want to certify or recertify a company for TSSA. So that's my job to have a meetings with the customers at the beginning of the project to define the scope of the project. And as an engineer, I need to know the basics, welding aspects of that project. But I would prefer to focus on project
And
management for now.
this comes up in many of my shows, how important it is to have multifaceted views of education,
Exactly.
because you can be an engineer and you want to go work for a welding shop. It's good to know about welding, because that makes you a better engineer. Or for
Exactly.
yourself, you are approaching these jobs as an engineering firm to help a customer, but your PMP designation probably helps a ton to help organize and make it easier for the customer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, especially for example, when I want to write a schedule management and cost management for each project, I really need to have some engineering background, and with my PMP, it helps me to make everything organized. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, when you started your company, how many of there was you when you like day one when you opened doors? How many people were working?
You mean the internal employees?
Yeah, internal.
Just two. Just two.
Just the two of you.
Yeah.
And how many employees do you have now?
Uh, so we have different departments now. In TSSA, CWB, and lab, I would say six.
6. And, how long has your company been open?
Um, from 2017 till now,
So
three to
4
four.
years. Yeah. So that's good growth. And how do you feel about the market? Do you feel like you guys are healthy, and how's the work in Ontario doing? Is it busy or is it slow?
There are too many competitors, but healthy. But we have a healthy competition with them. So we are a good we have good value proposition for each project, and the first thing is the quality of the projects and then pricing. But regarding your question, it's not easy to grow fast in Ontario and Toronto in the business. It needs time. You need to be very perfectly go and I would say have a perfect strategy to manage your business. And I would say it's very difficult to grow in Toronto. So those people who are interested to start a business in engineering field in Ontario and Toronto, they need to have very perfect planning.
Yeah, it's tough. And that's why I said you're gonna stay in Toronto. You should come out west. We're always looking for more people out west.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm curious, because you are from another country and you're here. Are you a Canadian citizen or are you landed immigrant right now?
I just recently got my Canadian citizenship.
Okay, that's
I,
awesome. I got mine when I was 19, so
oh, that's nice. My ceremony was very bad. It was online, so I'll never forget.
yeah. And then how in your group now with 6 people, I'm curious, do you have anybody else there from your home country? Do you have any buddy, like, have you hired another Iranian?
Yeah, my partner is Iranian, and we have another Iranian in our team. Yes.
So,
Uh,
I wonder, because this is something that I talk about all the time because I speak Spanish. So when I'm working in a professional field, I speak English with, my clients, my customers, people in my world. But when I come across somebody who speaks Spanish, I speak in my native language, and it's easier for me to communicate sometimes in my native language with certain customers because they can speak it. You know, I'm actually thinking about doing a podcast in Spanish with Dr. Patricio Mendez, who's up in Alberta.
that's nice.
And so for you, do you find that as well? Do you come across, maybe construction companies or something that are, speak your native language?
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes when we have a virtual meetings with Microsoft Teams, when we see we are Iranian, we switch from English to Persian. And yeah, it's like, because as you mentioned, it's very easy to communicate, and not easy, but it's more clear. And yeah, it happens.
That's good. That's fun. So now I guess for Matt's life and Ace Tech, what's your vision? Like you're looking forward now. Do you have a wife? Do you have kids? Are you looking to maybe someday go back home, or are you looking to grow the company here and establish a family? What's the plan?
So regarding the company, yeah, that's our goal to grow more and make the stake more established in Ontario. And soon we got some project out of the Ontario, but
Mm.
our projects mostly was in Canada, in Ontario. So our goal definitely is that to grow more and get more customers. And for my personal life, Yeah, I'm not married. I'm single now. So
So
hopefully,
all the girls that are listening, Matt's single.
yeah, I'm single. Yeah, I don't. I can. I will send you my phone number later. Yeah, and I think it's time for me to get married. And and regarding my professional aspect, yeah, as I mentioned, I'm going to get my P. Actually, I passed my PNG exam 3 months ago, but because of the COVID, there is a backlog. So hopefully by end
Mm.
of May, I can get my PNG, and then I can get my welding engineering certificate. So,
So where do you go to get your weld engineering certificate?
uh, I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure yet, but I think I need to take some course from CWB as well.
Yeah, yeah, that's good.
Okay.
And I'm curious what your relationship is like with CWB. Because CWB is a big company, has many different avenues and different branches. Do you guys work with CWB a lot as an engineering firm? Or like, is it a big piece of your company or a small piece?
So yeah, we are working with CWB company, and because we have a retained CWB engineer, so mostly he's responsible to have a communication with CWB, and I'm responsible when we land the project with the customers. For I would say for CWB, I'm not very in the involved in the technical aspects of the project. So
Hmm.
we retain CWB engineer, well engineer, and yeah, we do work with CWB too much, and I need to get more and know more about CWB soon because I need to get my CWB certificate soon.
That's good. And I hope that you get involved with the CWB Association, right? Because we're the volunteers, we're the chapters, we do the community work, the volunteer work, and
Oh, do you
you're
volunteer? Do you have
yeah.
volunteer? So
Well, I'm not a volunteer, I get paid, but
no, I want to be a volunteer there.
yeah, and you should just go to our website and you can join, the chapter. There'll be one for Toronto area, and we're always looking for young, ambitious, hardworking people to help because a lot of what we're trying to do at the association is mentor and help. And one of the things that we're lacking, that we're trying to do more of, is to help with diversity, and that means like if somebody sends me an email because I as the director of the association I get hundreds of emails from people and asking for help, and if I get somebody that says I have just landed from Iran, I live in Calgary, do you think you can help me? I would say I know a man, he maybe is in Toronto, but I can connect you by email, and then you can help mentor, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And we're always looking for more people to step up and mentor and to help and to assist and volunteer. It's a beautiful thing.
yeah. Uh, in the Project Management Institute, PMI Toronto, I'm mentored there as a project manager. I help the mentees. They want to improve the project management skills, get the project management job. Yeah, one day I was mentee. I'm now a mentor. I like it.
I just signed up actually a month or so ago for a program called the Futurepreneurs. I don't know if
I
you
know
ever
that.
heard of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So I am a mentor. I'm an official mentor on the Futurepreneurs, and I have my first mentee now. So I've been helping him with his starting his company and making sure that he's going through all the steps properly to get his company going. And it's been a lot of fun. It's been actually a lot of fun to help him. We meet once a week for an hour just to check up and make sure that he's making smart decisions.
Yeah, it's all about the learning. Even if you are working with mentee as a mentor, still I try to learn by myself when I want to. Because most of the time I had a mentee, he was asking about something, and I said, oh, I don't know, I can search and find it for you, and then I can learn by myself as well.
Yeah, it is a very good back and forth, and
Exactly.
that's something an association should be doing. We have these chapters across Canada, 18 chapters, and at every chapter there is intelligent, wonderful, successful people, and they're all volunteers. And sometimes I wish that we could have like so much more exposure. I mean, that's why we do the podcast, that's why we do this stuff, is to get the stories out there so people that are listening can reach out and feel like they're part of something.
Exactly, yeah. Especially for the immigrant, it's very people to be a mentee and learn from the mentors that they know more about the Canada. Yeah, it's very important. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Is there anything that you would like to bring up or discuss before we wrap up the show here?
I didn't think about this question. So, no, thank you so much for this opportunity. You are very lovely. Thank you for your lovely and friendly conversation. And I
Well,
just want to
yeah, go ahead.
sorry for the new graduates in the engineering. There are too many opportunities in Canada. They just need to be consistent with their planning. And I think even if they graduated from university in Canada, they need to think more about the certificate that they can improve their skills in the real projects. And my other recommendation for the engineer in Canada is that to get the PMP, because it's very helpful, not
Mhm.
just for the landing the jobs. They can manage everything, and it's kind of helping them to manage every parts of their
Career.
tasks. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
And if I could ask you to tell our listeners from your point of view one piece of advice, Matt's number one rule for, say, a young immigrant landing in Canada today, right off the airplane, they listen to the podcast, and no matter where country they're from, what would Matt tell that, new arrival would be the most important lesson to know coming here?
So can I say more than one?
Yeah, you can do a couple. Yeah.
Yeah. So the first thing is that if they have a goal, they need to, I would say, fight for their goals. So it means they need to be self-organized and have planning for their goals. That's why it's happened for me. I had goals. I really fighted for my goals to get them. So I would say have a perfect plan and feasible plan, not just very far
Not just
plan.
say, I want to be rich.
Yeah, no, it doesn't work. Yeah, very feasible planning and having a very self-organized personality. It's my advice to the new immigrants. Yeah,
So that was only one.
self-organized and
Feasible. Okay, I see there. So it
uh,
was 1A and 1B.
yeah, yeah.
Awesome, Matt. This was fun, and I really appreciate you coming on the show. And I hope the people in Ontario, maybe check out your company if they have some projects coming up. And I love seeing people, put themselves out on the line. Starting up a new business is one of the most stressful things in the world.
Exactly.
Like, I've had children, I've had a family, I've done many things, but starting a business may have been the most stressful thing I ever did.
Yeah, exactly. True. Yeah, but uh, I accept the risk. I'm happy I did that.
Hmm.
So yeah,
The
but
reward is large, yeah.
yeah. And I always like challenges, but hopefully mm, uh, I continue to accept challenges very under control, I would say.
Good. Well, thank you very much for being on the show, Matt. I really appreciate it. And thank you to all the listeners that are making this podcast really, do well. And we appreciate the support of everybody out there. Make sure you stay tuned and keep following us. We got great stories coming every week. So again, Matt, thank you for being here. And thank you to all the listeners. Make sure you check us out and keep up. So have a great day, Matt. Thank you.
Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed the show.
You've been listening to the CWB Association Welding Podcast with Max Ceron. If you enjoyed what you heard today, rate our podcast and visit us at cwbassociation.org to learn more. Feel free to contact us if you have any questions or suggestions on what you'd like to learn about in the future. Produced by the CWB Group and presented by Max Ceron. This podcast serves to educate and connect the welding community. Please subscribe, and thank you for listening.